Hare Krishna, everyone, dear devotees. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, right here in the live studios in Hythe, Kent, southeast England, just near the English Channel. Happy to be here, happy to be able to continue this daily hearing of Srila Prabhupada's books, which include, in my mind, the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, because of his order in the Chaitanya Charitamrita purport that we must read this book. So, Sanatana Goswami wrote the Srimad Brhad Bhagavatamrita along with the verse-by-verse commentary, which is the only book of the Goswamis that has a verse-by-verse commentary by the author. It's called an auto commentary. Very special. Just not that long after Lord Chaitanya instructed him for 2 months straight on the full Siddhanta of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. And so he included this 5-verse stotra in the Srimad Bhagavatamrta Stotram, and a beautiful glorification of the Bhagavatam, the basis of Brhad Bhagavatamrita. And it goes like this: Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidwandodita Ditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varshakshadayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguru Man Mahadana, Mannisdadaga Madbhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin, atini chuchata kada, hanamun chagadachin mam, premna rit kantayospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, by extreme good fortune, Gopakumar has reached Brahmaloka, and by a quirk of fate, taken the post of Brahma temporarily, and the court of Brahma is made up of the personified Vedas. So they had a debate, and Gopakumar saw that the Bhagavatam and the other devotional scriptures didn't want to participate in this debate, which was discussing, whether or not the holy name could give liberation. And Gopakumar saw the faces of these personified scriptures and knew that they knew the truth. So he asked them. And now the Bhakti Shastras are explaining to him the truth. We're getting to the end of their explanation. We're beginning with text 197, chapter 2, part 2, Brhad Bhagavatamrta. We scriptures are always accepted as authoritative. Our words and the words and behavior of great souls are standard evidence in all circumstances. Commentary. In the opinion of some transcendentalists, the absolute truth, eternally one without a second, becomes differentiated only by the superficial covering of illusion, which makes the one absolute falsely appear as many jivas. And when by knowledge of reality that false appearance is stripped away, only the absolute truth remains, manifest alone. Thus, when illusion is dispelled, the illusion that arises when circumstantial designations make the jivas seem to separately exist, one attains mukti, in which one perceives, as before, the intense bliss of one's true identity as Brahman. And so, by this reasoning, Brahman realization does not constitute substantial happiness. In mukti, furthermore, according to this view, there is no longer attraction to the false ego, even in its most subtle forms. Indeed, even the very person who once relished false happiness from false ego no longer exists. Thus, in mukti, real happiness is known, the happiness that comes from realizing the true identity of the self. The proponents of devotion to the personality of Godhead may believe that when the personal identity of Sri Bhagavan, the embodiment of Satchidananda, is constantly revealed, they can enjoy the most sublime and concentrated bliss, greater than that of liberation, and so they may claim that bhakti is greater than mukti. But these beliefs are incorrect. The bliss of Brahman is perfect and complete. Such are the views of impersonalists. And in texts 197 through 204, the Bhakti Shastras refute such views. Srimad Bhagavatam and other Bhakti Shastras offer many statements in refutation of the impersonalistic outlook. Here are but a few examples. Atmaramas chamunayo nirgranta apyarukrame kurvantyat haitukim bhaktim itam bhuta guno harihi. Even those who were self-satisfied and unattracted by external material desires are attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality of Godhead, is called Krishna because he has transcendentally attractive features. Bhagavatam 1.7.10. The senses, being symbolic representations of the demigods, are naturally inclined to work as directed by the Vedic injunctions. And as the senses represent the demigods, so the mind represents the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The mind's natural duty is to serve. When that service spirit is engaged in service to the Personality of Godhead without any motive, that devotional service is far better than even salvation, siddhi. Bhagavatam 3:25-32. Devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same, for such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. My Lord, some fortunate souls have gotten relief from the fatigue of material life by diving into the vast nectar ocean of your pastimes, which you enact when you manifest your personal forms to make known the unfathomable science of the self. These rare souls, indifferent even to liberation, renounce the happiness of home and family because of association with devotees who are like flocks of swans enjoying at the lotus of your feet. Bhagavatam 10:87-21. Indeed, even liberation is insignificant for those whose minds are attracted to the loving service of Lord Madhuvit. Bhagavatam 5:14-44. These authoritative statements of the Bhagavatam and other Bhakti Shastras are supported by thousands and thousands of recorded statements by great saintly persons. Vaishnavas like Sri Narada, Prahlad, and Hanuman have expressed themselves unequivocally on this topic. For example, in Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.49, Srila Rupa Goswami refers to this well-known statement of Hanuman. Even though liberation destroys the bondage of material existence, I have no desire for liberation in which I would forget that you are the Master and I am your servant. Recent authorities have spoken the same way. For example, the Paramahamsa Sri Shankaracharya Bhagavatpad, the all-knowing commentator on the important Shrutis, has said in his commentary on the Nisringa Tapani Upanishad 2.4, for pastimes, even those who are liberated accept new bodies to worship the Supreme Lord. This accords with the Vedanta Sutra 132, which says that Brahman is approached for shelter by persons who are liberated. Mukto paspriya vyapadeshat. Sri Shukadev, the four Kumaras, and others like them were attracted to narrations of the pastimes of the personality of Godhead. And Prahlad, Hanuman, and others refused to accept moksha, even from the Lord himself. This evidence from Scripture and the words and behavior of saintly persons is authoritative in all circumstances, sarvata, and at all times, sada. It should never be dismissed as what in Vedic terms is called artavad, mere sectarian verve. The statements of the Bhakti Shastras, like Srimad Bhagavatam, and of great devotees like Narada, Hanuman, and Shukadev need no authentication from other evidence. They are always perfect. Text 198. And many historical accounts support these statements we have made. To presume, therefore, that our words are merely overstated praise is certainly unreasonable. Commentary. That devotional service is vastly superior to mere liberation is not an idea one should dismiss as artavad, exaggeration, for it has been factually established by ancient histories recorded in the Puranas and other scriptures. The consensus indicated by thousands of accounts from varied sources, is too strong to disregard. One such account concerns a Brahmana resident of Dwarka, whose sons had all died at birth, unaware that in fact they had been taken away by Lord Mahavishnu to the abode of liberation. The Brahmana complained to King Ugrasena, and Arjuna offered to protect the son born next. But in spite of Arjuna's utmost efforts, that infant mysteriously disappeared soon after birth. Bitterly reviled by the Brahmana for this failure, Arjuna was about to kill himself in shame, but Krishna brought him to the abode of liberation, where they found the sons, whom they then brought to Dwarka, the abode of devotional service. In another incident, the three sages, Ekata, Dvita, and Trita, went to Shwepadweep and made a great effort to achieve darshan of the personality of Godhead. But even though they were fixed in a level of Brahman realization virtually equal to that of the four Kumaras, they were unable to see the Lord. They were qualified for mukti, but not bhakti. The fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes how Lord Vishnu visited King Prithu, the incarnation of the Lord's power of rulership. When the Lord urged the king to choose the best benediction, Prithu Maharaj extolled the Lord with excellent prayers, and then said, "My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance they always desire the material happiness of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you. Rather, as a father, not waiting for the son's demands, does everything for the benefit of the son. Please bestow upon me whatever you think best." The narration continues. After hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, the Lord, the seer of the universe, said to the king, "My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. As you yourself very intelligently express, only by such purity of purpose can one cross over the insurmountable, illusory energy of Maya." Bhagavatam 4:20, 31 and 32. Text 199. If a theorizer acts with such a presumption, nonetheless, it will fill him with an atheistic delusions and cast him into hells one after another, from which he will not be able to escape. Commentary. If one refuses to take seriously the words and behavior of elevated persons, and one acts as if the glories of devotional service were mere exaggerations, he will become an atheist. He will lose faith in the authority of the Vedic Shastras, become more and more proud of his own scholarship, and concoct theories about Arthavad that will earn him hellish punishments from which he will long be unable to escape. As the Narada Purana warns, O best of the Brahmanas, the Puranas authoritatively teach all aspects of religious life. Those who say that these Puranic teachings are mere Arthavad are sure to suffer in hell. Such statements are meant to tell proud logicians they must give up their groundless, arrogant theories and accept that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is even greater than liberation. Speculators who refuse will fall into the punishments of hell. The philosophy they should accept has been set forth above in texts 178 through 181. To attain liberation by the practices set forth in Vedic scriptures may take many lifetimes. Most so-called transcendentalists who aim at liberation encounter nothing but frustration. Therefore, one should understand the endeavor for impersonal liberation to be fruitless and put it aside. Text 200. Indeed, how can the scriptures glorify liberation, which outright demons are seen to achieve? Demons those same scriptures condemn, killers even of cows and brahmanas. Commentary. Here is another easily understood argument. Since we see from scriptural histories that demons like Kamsa and Aghasura achieved liberation, persons of the opposite nature should not aspire for it. Even scriptures that promote liberation condemn demons who kill cows and brahmanas and who blaspheme the Vedas and Vedic sacrifices. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.4.40 portrays this demonic mentality in the advice of King Kamsa's ministers. O King, we, your adherents, in all respects, shall therefore kill the Vedic brahmanas, the persons engaged in offering sacrifices and austerities, and the cows that supply milk, which gives clarified butter for sacrifice. Demons perform many such atrocities. Therefore, the destination they attain should also be considered abominable. Text 201. Saints and demons are in all respects opposite in nature. It is therefore only fitting that they be opposite in their disciplines and goals. Commentary. In personal character and behavior, devotees of the Supreme Lord completely differ from his enemies. And so the goal of their lives and the disciplines they practice to achieve that goal also completely differ. Devotees practice worshipping the personality of Godhead and meditating on his lotus feet, and demons practice just the opposite. They cultivate the understanding that their own self is one with the Supreme. The goal of the devotees is prema bhakti, the goal of the demons, mukti. Granted, the Bhakti Shastras sometimes equate devotional service and hatred of the Lord because they both give spiritual results. For example, we find in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1087:23, simply by always thinking of the Lord, his enemies attained the same supreme truth whom sages worship, fixed in yoga, by controlling their breath, mind, and senses. Similarly, we Shrutis, who generally see you as all-pervading, will achieve from your lotus feet the same nectar your consorts relish by their loving attraction to your mighty serpentine arms. For you look upon us and your consorts in the same way. And in the 7th canto, 7.1.30, Narada Muni says, whether by lust, enmity, fear, affection, or devotional service, many persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Krishna with great attention and giving up sinful acts. The real message of these verses, however, is that loving the Supreme Lord and hating him are equal only in the sense that they both release one from the material cycle of birth and death, and they both demonstrate the potency of remembering the Supreme Lord, seeing Him, and receiving His mercy. At one point in the 7th canto, 7.127, Narada even seems to glorify hatred of the Lord. By devotional service, one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity toward Him. That is my opinion. According to Sanatana Goswami, however, this is just Narada's clever way of expressing the natural satisfaction he feels in the devotional service of the Lord, and the depth and boldness of his pure love for the Lord. Otherwise, how could he have spoken thus in the royal assembly of a great Vaishnava like Yudhishthira Maharaj, and in the presence of Sri Krishna Dev, the supreme teacher and eager connoisseur of the rasas of devotional service? Another explanation of Narada's peculiar praise of hatred toward the Supreme Lord is that he is subtly ridiculing the impersonal liberation of Sayuja, merging into the existence of the Supreme. What he is actually saying then is that by being inimical to the Lord, one achieves only the worthless state of becoming one with the Lord. Tan Mayata. Text 202. One becomes saintly only by devotion to Krishna. That is the highest means of spiritual attainment, and it brings one to the highest goal, Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Commentary. Persons who adhere to prescribed ritual duties and those who cultivate Vedic knowledge may be considered serious spiritual practitioners by the general public, but confidential devotees know that only devotional service to Sri Krishna is fully spiritual, and that all other practices are only of relative value. Thus, the real sadhus are Krishna's pure devotees. In Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4, 63 and 68, after Durvasa Muni suffers embarrassment in his encounter with the great devotee Ambarish Maharaj, Lord Vishnu himself says to Durvasa, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything but me, and I do not know anyone but them. Devotional service to Krishna is the best spiritual practice because it leads to the attainment of Krishna's lotus feet. Other practices like karma, jnana, and vairagya are of value only when they play a subordinate role by helping one develop pure bhakti. Krishna's lotus feet are the supreme goal of life, unequaled by any other achievement, including realization of Brahman. Text 202. And for those great souls who know the truth and have a taste for the nectar of pure devotional service, that nectar of serving at Lord Krishna's lotus feet is itself the goal. Commentary. Although one may easily understand that devotional service is greater than impersonal liberation and is therefore the ultimate goal of life, one might still ask how it can also be the means, sadhana, to attain that goal. This verse points out that the intimate devotees of Krishna enjoy the taste of transcendental rasas, loving exchanges, which are described as fragrant, cool honey exuding from his lotus feet. The rare souls who are greedy to taste such rasas know a pleasure far superior to any other. Even the ecstasy derived from seeing the Supreme Lord in person seems pale compared to the ecstasy of serving him in one's eternal relationship with him. This will be explained more elaborately later on in Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Those who aspire to realize the impersonal Brahman may achieve realization in various ways. They may become Atmarama, joyful in the self, and Jivan Mukta, liberated even within this life. Nonetheless, even the most perfect impersonalist actually knows only the cessation of material pain. But Vaishnava devotees, whether they have attained Vaikuntha or still live in material bodies, by the mercy of the Lord, enjoy the most intense and positive spiritual happiness. Text 204. That goal cannot be achieved by one who cares for knowledge, renunciation, or material success. It is only for one who, by Krishna's mercy, depends on Krishna's devotional service and nothing else. Commentary. To further clarify how to achieve pure devotional service, in this verse, the Bhakti Shastras say that devotees of the Lord are uninterested in karma, jnana, vairagya, and other methods of advancement. Karma here means acting according to one's prescribed duty. Jnana means understanding the difference between spirit and matter, atma and anatma. And vairagya means aloofness from sense gratification and other material attractions. A person who relies on karma, jnana, vairagya, or any other method cannot achieve bhakti, because bhakti is achieved only by Sri Krishna's mercy. But then, since Sri Krishna is naturally compassionate to every soul, why doesn't everyone obtain pure devotional service? The Bhakti Shastras answer that the special mercy of devotional service acts only when a candidate has no interest in karma, jnana, or anything other than bhakti. Only such a person will be receptive to Krishna's special mercy. As Lord Brahma says in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, my Lord, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, and all the while patiently suffers the reactions of his past misdeeds, offering you respectful obeisances with his body, words, and heart, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. In this verse, the phrase mukti pade, which tells the goal for which one is eligible, should be correctly understood. The phrase can be explained in several ways. In one sense, it indicates the place, pada, where the highest ecstasy is manifest, namely Sri Vaikuntha. In another sense, pada means fruit, so mukti pada means the ultimate fruit of liberation. In other words, pure devotional service, in yet another sense, pure devotional service. In yet another sense, pada means feet. So mukti pada means that which has liberation at his feet. again, the path of devotional practice, because bhakti conquers and subjugates mukti. And in still another sense, according to an established convention, the idea of mukti, cessation of material existence, should be understood to refer directly to bhakti itself. Following this last meaning, the word apavarga, synonymous with mukti, is used as follows in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, 5:19, 19 and 20. One may also achieve apavarga after many, many births. When the results of one's pious activities mature, one gets an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. Then one is able to cut the knot of bondage to ignorance, which bound him because of varied fruitive activities. As a result of associating with devotees, one gradually renders service to Lord Vasudeva, who is transcendental, free from attachment to the material world, beyond the mind and words, and independent of everything else. That devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, Bhakti Yoga, is the real path of liberation. That devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, Bhakti Yoga, is the real path of liberation. Lord Vasudeva is anatmya, devoid of the attachment and other faults. Lord Vasudeva is anatmya, devoid of the attachment and other faults that arise in the conditioned self. He is also anirukta, beyond the scope of words, and anilayana, independent of any other shelter. Pure devotion for him without ulterior motives is true mukti. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:20-35, Lord Krishna confirms in his own words that renunciation of material motives is a prerequisite for bhakti. Complete detachment, it is said, is the highest stage of liberation. Therefore, one who is detached and does not pursue personal rewards can achieve loving devotional service unto me. Here, Krishna indicates that the highest goal, or the only real goal of life, is indifference to sense gratification and everything else material. Or, to put it another way, the highest good can be achieved by the person who becomes indifferent to material things. That highest good is called liberation. But a person who is completely detached is indifferent even to liberation and the means of achieving it, knowledge, detachment, and so on. Therefore, such a person can achieve pure devotional service to Krishna. In Sri Vishnu Purana 3.8.9, Aurava Rishi tells King Sagara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Lord. One who adheres to this Varnashram Dharma, does not cease from all activity, thinking his life's work complete. Yet he does nothing else, nanyat, than worship Lord Vishnu. The statement, this is a long purport, huh? Whoa, it's going on and on and on. I lost my place, sorry. King Sagara, yeah. This statement from the Vishnu Purana clearly implies that worship of Lord Vishnu is the summit of all Varnashram duties. other than worship of Lord Vishnu, no path, pantaha, neither karma, nor jnana, nor any other process, is the cause of the Lord's satisfaction, tat tosha karanam. These other methods have no independent power to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Therefore, unless they are engaged in the service of bhakti, they are useless. Nevertheless, the Lord enjoins that varnashrama duties should not be given up. The Shruti and Smriti comprise my orders. If someone violates these scriptures, he breaks my commands and thus becomes my opponent. Even if he professes to be my devotee, he is not a Vaishnava. The Lord says this because performing varnashram duties can help one progress toward the path of devotional service. At least in the lower stages of spiritual development, one should not abandon one's prescribed duties. The duties of varnashram must be maintained, especially by persons who are on the pravritti marg, the path of material development, and who lack faith in the transcendental process of bhakti. The Supreme Lord makes statements like these to encourage people to adhere strictly to their prescribed religious duties. However, many other statements throughout the revealed scriptures also say that the scope of obligatory material duties is limited. Such duties, limited also in their benefits, may be ignored without harm when they conflict with more important spiritual responsibilities. Thus, devotees dedicated to the path of bhakti are not considered fallen if they fail to carry out some of their karmic commitments. As declared by the Personality of Godhead in Sri Padma Purana, if persons doing my work fail to execute some other karmic duties, 30 million exalted sages carry out those commitments on their behalf. Hare Krishna. Similarly, in the same Purana, Devaduti prays, persons who know this pure Supreme cease performing the duties enjoined by the Shrutis, lose all ambitions, and become friends of the whole world. To him I bow down. So we're past 8 o'clock. I'm going to stop here. We're right in the middle of this huge purport, which is all making the case of the superiority of bhakti over everything else, any other spiritual activity or any other aspiration. So I'm going to remember this: if devotees abandon their karmic duties, that is where we left off. And this is text what?
204.
204. 204. Okay, we'll start at 204, in the middle of the purport. Okay, if there's any reflections, I'll be very happy to hear them. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Radha Madan Mohan.
From Radha Madan Mohan, Haribo.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj and all friends, blessed to be in your readings. Sakal Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Now read them a little bit more slowly and devotionally, please.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj and all friends, blessed to be in your readings. Sakal Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada. Yes, the association of the Vaishnavas is the place where you can get bhakti and nowhere else.
Rati Manjari said Jai Guru Maharaj.
Jai Rati. she's thinking through all this philosophy and making up her things, so taking time to type it out.
Brhad Bhagavatamrta said, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble
Jai
obeisances.
Braja Haribol.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have no real experience of the happiness of serving the lotus feet of Krishna that I can understand.
You are.
Therefore, some of the reading is theoretical for me. What should I do?
Go on hearing again and again and again, and go on supporting the audio project for the BBT, and everything will come.
Rico Noel Brown.
Who?
Rico Noel Brown.
Oh, Rico Noel Brown.
Hmm.
A newcomer. I haven't heard his name yet. Hare Krishna Rico.
He said that altar looks effulgent.
It is. Thanks. That was very good. Sham Kishore is doing the duties, cleaning every day and making offerings. Yeah, we have a little temple here. There's only 3 of us living in this flat and doing this important audiobook work, and we keep ourselves pure-hearted by worshipping the Lord. This is our altar. Hare Krishna.
Brajvarabha said, Also, I must offer millions of obeisances to you for undertaking this service. Where would I be without your steady guidance?
Hare Krishna Braj Balabha. It's mutually, we're a mutual admiration society. Where would we be without your help? Hare Krishna. All right, we'll end our reading today. Aha, I knew she was. She had something up her keyboard, something in her keyboard to come out. Go ahead.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Yes, I was typing something.
I thought so.
Smiley face. Could you please comment on this verse? If persons doing my work fail to execute some other
If persons
doing my work
fail
to execute some other karmic duties, 30 million exalted sages carry out those commitments on their behalf.
That's a verse from the Vedas. It's actually a verse from the Vedas, and it's referring, in that particular case, it's referring to the Shraddha, ritual ceremonies that one is obliged to perform for his forefathers, forefathers. And pure devotional service is so powerful that even if you don't do that, there's 14,000 sages who will do it on your behalf if you're a pure devotee of the Lord. That's it.
Brhad Bhagavatamrta asked, how is Abhay Prabhu?
Abhay Prabhu is waiting to take a flight tomorrow morning. He has his COVID test results, which he needs to take a flight, and which they didn't come back in time on the last flight, but now he is on his way tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, and by the way, he's making another devotee. His name is Marco, and he's helping him, driving around places and helping him in different ways. So, Abhaya went to the detention center just outside the airport, in Heathrow Airport, and made some friends there and got inspired some devotees to give him fruits and so on. And now he's helping Marco, whose mother just died 2 days ago. So he's helping him. So he's doing great. He's a renunciate and a full-hearted preacher. Hare Krishna. He's doing great. And we miss him, but he's doing great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you. All glories to Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. See you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same topic. And guess what it is? I'm sure you can't guess. It's the creme de la creme. Because the Bhagavatam is the cream of all the Vedas. And Brhad Bhagavatamrta is the cream of the Bhagavatam. And all these verses and all these chapters and all this nectar is the creme de la 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 creme. Hare Krishna, see you tomorrow night so we can taste some more cream. Hare Krishna.